It's a delight to be down here. It's a delight to be talking to this particular forum about smart buildings, innovative cities and creativity. If I think about our business here down in the Christchurch city, well, Vodafone's been here since we originally acquired Bell South. We've been here in the capacity as a mobile operator, been here in the capacity as someone who's growing beyond mobile. And way back actually in the sort of early 2010s, we had this sort of a glimmer in the eye that we could acquire Telstra Clear, which in this city was quite a big move for us because we always had the team telling us that, you know, to be a leader down here in Christchurch, we needed to be able to be a company of substance here. And we knew if we were able to pull that acquisition off, which we did in November 2012, that we'd have the kind of resources that we could actually work with our business customers, with our consumers, to not only meet their mobile needs, but also meet their total communications needs, be they in fixed, fibre, be they small business or large business alike. So we made that acquisition, and today here in Christchurch, we're a business of around 350 people. Now, obviously, and you all well know, and it's why we're here today, there was events of the earthquake that changed a lot of things. Indeed, before the earthquake, we had plans to move even more of our resources down to this fair city. We're going to take more of our technical resources and more of our service resources down here. The irony being, and the truth be known, that when you looked around New Zealand, we thought it was quite a safe location to be, maybe like all of us. And we thought, well, this is the place to actually increase our footprint. So we had a sort of a vision at the time to say, well, if everything went right, what we'd look to do would be to bring the capability we had together and look to try and grow the business to about 650 people down here, which is indeed our plan, and we're fully committed to it. Yes, we've had some setbacks, but we're certainly on our way, as Rob mentioned. We're very, very excited about our new building that we're building. You know, I think about that building today, you know, it's quite a nice looking building in a sense. You know, I'm not an architectural expert or design expert. It looks kind of nice on the photos, and I've seen it coming out of the ground just around the corner there, and the lift's coming up, so we're well underway. But what I'm really excited about is what the building is going to be for our employees and for our customers. Because back in 2005, we set the standard in New Zealand up in Auckland when we built our building up there, which we called Venue, where we went completely mobile, we went completely open plan, no offices at all for anyone in the building, even me, and we went to a complete collaboration workspace, which changed the way that we worked, and we thought we needed to be the leader in mobility. So the new building, 10 years on here in Christchurch, we're hugely excited about, because we think that what we'll be able to do inside the building is to set the new vision of the future. We're taking some big, big steps forward, obviously taking a few risks and trying to bring it all together, but we think what we're really going to be creating is one of the smartest buildings, if not here in Christchurch, certainly in New Zealand, and hopefully around the world. So with that, it's always good to see what we think it'll look like, and rather than me tell you about it, I think I've got a little video here that's a short 4 minutes that'll show you what we're trying to do with our building.
Celebrating a new beginning for Vodafone and Christchurch. Introducing the most technologically advanced building in New Zealand. Visitors will be welcomed and directed to their meetings via their smartphone. And staff will use their smartphone as the ultimate security pass. Smartphones and tablets will be at the heart of the work experience. It's completely wireless with no cables and power by proxy. With open plan, flexible and collaborative workspaces, there's no printing, no paper waste. Video is the new voice in a fibre world. All screens will be networked as real-time digital displays. Vodafone's new Christchurch office, showcasing the very best of our pioneering technology, delivering new levels of productivity and convenience for our employees, customers and partners. Connecting the most advanced working environment right here in the heart of Christchurch.
All right, we're pretty excited about it. May next year, we hope to share it with everyone, certainly with our customers, but anyone wants to look at it. because some of the things you saw in there are going to be pretty advanced. Now, one of the things that I have to say up front, there was a quote in there about no wires for power. That's pretty cool, eh? Now, why do we think we wanted to do that? Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but since we've gone wireless, we've got a lot of power cables, haven't we? Like one for my iPad, one for my Samsung watch, one for my Samsung phone. They're everywhere. And we were talking at the time to this New Zealand company, an innovative company up in Auckland called Power by Proxy. And they said, oh, we think this wireless stuff will work, you know. And they're working with another partner of Samsung. And so we're looking to go down that path. And we certainly will be piloting at the time. But that's probably one of the technologies in that video that's probably going to be just a tad green next year. But the team down here are really keen to try things, and try things we will. So the concepts we're taking are saying, well, you know, work is something you do. It's not necessarily a place you go. And so you saw there at the beginning there the introduction of, you know, today the majority of our customers and, you know, yours and your employees, you know, smartphones are something which is fundamentally changing everything we're doing. So how do we harness the power of that and the power of networks to change the whole interaction? So we know when you're coming to see us. If we've got your mobile number, if you're a customer, we'll know. So we'll be able to make it so the building will recognise you. We're talking to Samsung about some technology in the car park, so when you park your car, we'll recognise that and away you go. It sounds pretty interesting, but they think they can do it, so they're on board. And then you go and walk in through the reception, and hopefully at that point in time you'll get a little notification that says, you know, welcome, and proceed on through. We'll be able to let the people know you're there. The smartphone will be the ID card. It'll be the security access card that we'll be able to light up there. We go and do your business. We're doing all the things you think about doing, things like employing apps. So if you want to order a coffee, you can, and it'll happen, and things like that. Not for staff, by the way, Ebony. That's just for guests. You know, we have to draw a line somewhere. I can see you looking, thinking, "This is cool." You know, here comes the coffees. But anyway, so and then some of the things that sort of you look at, you say, well, okay, what about this world? You know, you saw the concept there of, you know, video is a new voice. Oh, boy, have we been trying to do that for a long time. But we now look at what's happening with Skype, and we look what's happening with particularly FaceTime, and it's really starting to happen. But then you look across your real estate, and if you're organisations like ours, you'll find that there's screens everywhere. You know, there really are. There's both the big presentation screens, and there's the little ones that people have, and there's sort of a passive environment when you're not actually using them. And yet we go and sort of print out things and send flyers around our company. We sort of, you know, have case studies here, this and that, communications via email, via message boards, everything. But you've got all this real estate that just sits there doing nothing. So the whole idea, and, you know, to be honest, that one we picked up from a client of ours, actually down in Invercargill. So we're looking to have every screen, when it's not in use, being actively used, then it'll be part of a communications backbone throughout the building. So when you go in, all the various messages you may want to communicate to your staff are sort of cycling around. You know, think of sort of like the digital equivalent of your company newsletters or things that are working, or might be some training videos, might be just picking up a news feed about an incoming bit of media that we want everyone to know about. So just really allowing you to communicate through these, you know, investments we're all making, which are quite passive. The other concept you saw in there was that, you know, hopefully we're no more of this sort of, you know, plug into lead, into projector not work, spend half an hour, 3 technicians later, and you finally can throw that presentation up onto the board, because what we're looking to adapt there is some Apple technology that's just allows you to go and actually come in and you sit down and, you know, the system knows you're there and you flick up the presentation. So a lot of cool stuff. And we sort of put that all together. The video obviously was made by our marketing team, so they sort of even amp it up a little bit more. Then we handed it over to the technology team, and they sort of got a little excited, I must admit. A bit scared too, thinking, well, we have to make that all work? I said, yeah, you've got a year, plenty of time. And so we're looking to bring it all together and create a new environment, which our sort of philosophy is, if we can't do it for ourselves and our people, you know, how can we expect to help lead all of your good organisations forward into the future? Because at the heart of our business is innovation, it is technology, and that's what's driving forward just about everything we do, and clearly everything that happens out there in terms of what is happening in the city here. think it's a great opportunity to build from the ground up. When we think about what can be done in technology, when you think about the Internet of Things and connectivity, you think about smart buildings, you think about the opportunity to create new experiences using the tools that are there today. It is really a big opportunity for the city, and we're very committed to being a leader to make that happen. When we think about going forward as a team here in Christchurch, we look at what we do today and we say, well, we're only really about 7 years into a fundamental trend that is redefining everything. I've been around since when the PC first arrived. Sort of hate saying that, it makes me feel quite dated. But it fundamentally changed the computing industry. It went out of the data centre, it went onto the desktop. It formed an association with us as humans that had never ever happened before. And that was the next 20 years of our industry, was the Microsoft Intel dynasty that basically created just about everything we know in terms of computing as consumers and as individuals. Now we're 5 years, 5 is it? No, what are we, 7 years into the next big trend, started by the late, great Steve Jobs. And that's actually become something even more personal. It's your smartphone. And perhaps the only thing in there that's not really the right word is phone, because it really is about a device that you have that allows you to do your business, to consume media, to consume games, everything you like in ways you've never thought possible. And it's just changing just about everything. Let me give you a couple of stats, New Zealand stats. 2 years ago, if you looked at your usage, average use of everyone in this room, so right across our customer base, you were on your smartphones for 1:40 a day. Sounds like quite a lot, but then when you add up all the times you're looking at it, so 1:40, that's interesting. Today you're on average, so there's a lot more that are on it a lot longer, you're on for 2.5 hours. That's pretty impressive. Now, your voicing and your texting hasn't changed, which is disappointing from our point of view, to be honest. One of our economic engines is the voices and the calls. But what you're doing is, all of a sudden, there's a huge explosion in use of video, social media, commerce on these devices, and that is our future. And that's what we think when we talk about what we're doing here is really, really important to set a reference point up about what we think the future can be for not only our organisation, but for the rest of the city. So I think it's a fantastic opportunity we have here to create something that will be hopefully a reference point. We know from what we did 10 years ago in Auckland that, to this day, people are still visiting our building in Auckland. And I must admit, it does look a little tired, to be honest. It's sort of 10 years on. But we're creating something here which I know our employees are hugely excited about and will get more excited as we go through the next 6 to 12 months and look to unveil what we're going to be doing here in Christchurch. So that's really what I wanted to share with you. We're very committed to the city here. It's a big investment. That's just the beginning. The bigger investment is our people, and the people down here will look to serve and support you as customers and help this city build to where it should be, which will be one of the finest cities in New Zealand and probably in the rest of the world in the next few years. Thank you.
Russell, I was just going to ask how we are placed in the hierarchy of technology around the world. Are we up the top, or where are we?
Yeah, well, look, I think we're obviously a global business, and we get the privilege of sharing with our shareholders where we're at. If you look at New Zealand, and certainly in terms of mobile, we benchmark our mobile network and against the other networks in Vodafone, consistently the #1 network in the world, which probably means we have the #1, 2, and potentially #3 networks, very good mobile networks. In terms of fibre rollout, we're the fastest growing fibre country in the OECD. In the next 3-4 years, we'll probably be #1 in terms of fibre rolled out in the country. Now, for those of us who have put fibre into their homes or businesses, it is quite hard, because we are, again, huge step forward in technology, big step forward, big step backwards, and that now we're back up to digging roads and doing construction work. And as you'll all probably fully appreciate being in this city, that when you do things that physically involve digging, connecting, it's quite hard. And so I think in terms of infrastructure, from a telecommunications point of view, New Zealand is well served and is going to be, and is today, one of the leading markets. I think the other things people ask me is, what about prices? Aren't we paying a lot more? I can certainly share with you that the good news is that we're very, very competitive here, and our prices are better than Australia and on par with places like the UK, Germany, Italy, and that's a big change over the last 5 years. So we're not only delivering great value, but we're also delivering some great technologies.
And you're also looking very strongly at the rural sector, because that's been an area where people have said, oh, broadband and all that sort of stuff's not working.
Yeah. No, I think, look, that's another area. You know, I said to some reporters the other day that the agribusiness sector in New Zealand is like the Silicon Valley of agriculture. You know, if you go, as we do, to field days every year and spend a lot of time with our rural constituents, you know, they're data-intensive businesses and they're high-tech businesses. And I think the beauty of the last few years, what's called the Rural Broadband Initiative, is we're driving out further into rural, you know, more mobile coverage, more high-speed data, more internet access, and that's just livening up a whole lot of opportunity. And we're partnered with a number of companies here that are actually using our infrastructure to take solutions around the world in rural, so it's an exciting new area for us.
And finally, if I can, for us guys who have got gold cards, how do we learn all this stuff?
Oh, well, got any grandchildren?
Fair enough.
No, seriously, I think that, again, I think we have to actually, you know, thank, you know, Mr. Steve Jobs in a way. You know, that whole new interface and that whole world of apps has made the big barrier often to the use of technology a lot less. It's a hell of a lot easier to get people to jump onto those devices than it was to, you know, use the old PCs of just a few years ago.
Ladies and gentlemen, Russell.